Today's guest, the man behind WME Group, First Page, Mooning, Primal, AppScore, Removify.
They reached out to me on LinkedIn and they shot me a message and said, "Are you interested in doing Celebrity Apprentice?" And I thought, is this a joke? Because it could be, I thought it was a spam message. And they said, no, it's legit. So 2 weeks before filming, they reached out to me and I said, I'm interested because I'm in lockdown. Like, don't get me wrong, the money is great and it does buy you opportunities, but it's what you do with those opportunities. I always say, if you're unhappy before you had money, you're going to be unhappy with money. Or there was another offer for 150 million with a 3 to 5 year earnout. The opportunity cost. In 3 to 5 years, I can probably make a lot more than 100 million.
Give it up for serial Aussie entrepreneur Nick Ball.
Yay! No one's ever lucky. I think the only lucky you get in life is where you're born, and then you make the rest.
Stick around. It's going to be a good ride. Back into it. I like it.
Now, boys,
Oh.
you always told me we're not allowed to timestamp because we obviously pre-record a few weeks in advance. But I'm going to timestamp today.
All right, timestamp.
Today's the day. Today is the actual day.
All right, this is making me nervous, PK.
What's going on?
Oh, no, yeah, so you weren't
You
concentrating.
don't know.
What is today? What's today?
Today is settlement day.
Oh!
2 p.m. today, boys. So,
Really?
Yep.
So today or when it gets released?
Bahamas tonight.
Not so when this is released, it's already done. But
Gotcha.
Today, which will be a few weeks before this goes to air.
Gotcha.
But I wanted to tell you, boys, when I was away overseas, we learned about manifesting. So we went
Here
a
we
lot.
go. We're about to go deep here.
Well, I'm just going to explain.
No, we need to talk this. This is
because
important.
We went over our 4-week period of trying to sell the house, and we're thinking, fuck, you know what? We're in a down market.
Correct.
It hasn't happened in the 4 weeks. We're fucked. We're screwed. That's what we're thinking. But our good friend Finn Kelly, who's going to be on the podcast later in the year, he's all about intentionality.
Let's go, Finn.
And he actually explained to me the manifesting and how you got to do it properly and really believe it. So it's about you got to create a story. You got to show yourself a movie of what you're trying to manifest. Which for us, it was trying to sell the house, obviously at a certain value. But in our heads, we created a movie, Danny and I, where the night of settlement, we're going to walk to our favourite spot in the back beach, to our favourite chair, with our dogs, watching sunset with a bottle of champagne. That's what we manifested every time we went to bed. And within 2 weeks, we sold our house. So tonight at sunset, we're going to be going to that exact spot at sunset, having a bottle of champagne with our dogs.
That's amazing.
But when we get Finn on, he'll explain the actual real process because, man, I didn't believe it until it actually happened.
Man, you don't have to sell me on this shit, dude.
Yeah.
You ask PK, I walk around on the daily saying, I swear to you, PK, I manifested this shit, man.
Yeah,
This
but
shit's just not happening because it happened like it was
Yeah.
up here. I seen it first, man.
But so he goes down. It's got to happen at a certain point where your subconscious is almost taking over your normal conscious, and then it gets put out into the universe. There's a theory about it all.
So Finn, can you tell us a little bit about Finn?
Intentionality.
Yeah.
So Finn, like he's a good friend back here from Melbourne. Moved to the US. Had a financial advising business that just exploded over there. He got out of all that and was a bit lost there for a bit, but he started intentionality, all about being intent in life
And that's his
and
business,
daily.
intentionality.
And he does a lot of talks and that to all big corporates. He's dominating. And I was lucky enough to
that.
We
sounds
need
good.
to get this guy
He's coming on.
yeah.
He'll be back in Australia later in the year. He'll be on.
sick.
But that's who I spent time with in Aspen, and that's when I learnt all of this. And that's when Danny and I started manifesting.
Powerful,
and within
man.
2 weeks, we sold the house. So tonight we're going that story or that movie scene. We're going to play that tonight because hopefully the money's in the bank tonight, boys.
2 o'clock. Hopefully nothing slows down settlement.
I was going to ask you, Pete, does it go in straight away or is it a few days after settlement?
Nah, it's very instant, man.
It is.
Very instant, yeah.
Because in my head,
100%.
I'm thinking it's just before the weekend.
Nah, it's a different. Yeah, I know what you mean.
He needs it for the weekend. Is it going to be
We're going out. Nah, man. It's a different level.
It would
It's
be
a different
remiss.
level, man.
It would be remiss not to ask, because I know like money burns a hole in your pocket. Is there something? You know what I mean? Is there one thing you and Danny have said? You know what? We obviously got game plans of growing it bigger, but is there a purchase or something?
Something
that
special.
Something special that you
To
guys
acknowledge.
to acknowledge it. Yeah, because that's man. Congratulations,
yeah,
dude. Because to
thank
be
you.
fair, man, it's not easy to do what you guys have done. There's a lot of risk involved, a lot of uncertainty, man, and
Yeah.
and you guys stayed the course. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. 3 years before you got into the ground or something.
Yeah, it took a while because we went through multiple plans. We couldn't find the money to build it.
Correct, and then the money's going out
Yeah.
because you're paying for it's just
Yeah.
sitting there and
Well, land
stuff,
tax
man.
and all
So
that.
yeah, so mad respect, dude. That's
Is
huge.
there one thing we're going to buy? I don't think there's one thing. I think we're going to treat ourselves to a bottle of a good champagne, probably a high end one, Dom Perignon. But
That's like
How much-
$280.
how much
mate.
is that?
You know what I mean?
yeah, I know, but
It's a lot of money, Peter.
I mean, it's just-
the drones ain't drinking that no
Yeah,
matter
but
what.
you just
happens,
didn't
mate,
settle
I
on
tell
a
ya.
multi-million-dollar
Yeah,
residence
true,
either.
true.
you know, like we want to buy something else. We want to do another trip
Yeah.
this year. We're trying to start the Strong Studio, which I got something else. We've looked like we found a site that it's going to
on.
be a little bit more than just strong now. We're thinking wellness centre and everything. So
Oh,
That's
shit.
sick. I saw a strong in Heidelberg, man. They're popping up everywhere, dude.
everywhere.
Everywhere, man.
And there's a couple of my mates are ringing me up now saying they're starting to do Pilates.
Oh, actually, one of
Everyone's doing
our employees yesterday said to me, I was like, "Oh, you body fit?" Because normally body fit. I was like, "Oh no, I'm not there anymore. I'm Pilates."
Mobility.
Mobility, boys. I was onto it early, you know that.
He was.
All right, hey, let's get into it, eh?
Big guest.
Let's get into this guest. Welcome back to Australia's #1 podcast. We are the Little Fish, and we speak to the big fish about town each and every week. Please like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. A little bit excited about this one today, boys.
Oh, big guest today. Real big guest.
This guy's doing it properly, and, mate,
He's a business savage,
Mate,
man.
and he's
savage.
not very old at all.
Yeah, a little
Making
bit.
me look at what I'm doing.
Same here. What are we doing wrong, Pete?
Wonder what I'm doing.
We're about to
dude.
find out, I reckon.
Great boy from the bush as well, just quietly, like myself. Let's get into it, boys. Today's guest went from having $400 in his back pocket to being worth a whopping $274 million today.
274 million.
274 million.
Circa 300 mil.
He's on track. He's got a lot of time left to get there, I can promise you. And founding no less than 13 companies along the way. His career went from selling school lunches as a kid to selling search marketing services in his 20s and then selling that business for $39 million in 2017, so 5 years ago.
39. I'll be retired, I reckon.
Would that see you out?
I reckon I might retire. I would have. Benny, you would have too.
Oh, I'd be in the
Would out.
Bahamas. I'd be in the Bahamas, man.
Same
There's
here.
no question, dude.
Mate, I reckon Danny would still have you working. Probably.
True.
Today's guest, Managing Director of digital agency group Superist, the man behind WME Group, First Page, Mooning, Primal, AppScore, Removify, which Benny's had a few dealings with
old
Removify.
Removify. We're like this.
Get yourself into trouble, mate. That's why.
What's
like
Remove-
this.
Can we
We're
just,
like
what's
this.
Removify?
Well, we'll go
sorry,
into that.
yeah,
We'll go
yeah.
into that. We'll go into it.
He's also an advisor, along with Australian business royalty Janine Ellis on Celebrity Apprentice. He's not afraid of failure, but he's famous for success. Give it up for serial Aussie entrepreneur Nick Bell.
Yay! Yeah.
Nico!
A good Channel 9 man too. We like to see.
You boys. Feathering each other's pockets.
No, big one today, boys. How are you going, Nick? Thanks so much for coming in.
Mate, thanks for having me. Good to be here, gents. Thank you.
Yeah, busy man.
What an intro that was. Holy shit.
How's that
Nice
intro
nice
feel?
and close, Nick. Otherwise, it
that
makes...
better?
Yeah, that's
How does it
better.
feel hearing that intro when you sort of unpack it all?
Oh, mate, I don't even think about it. It's just kind of, you just get on with business, do your thing every single day, and then it is what it is.
Yeah, love it. I think a few months ago, Nathan Buckley said, doesn't even feel like him.
Yeah.
It's like, is that me? I'm just working away, and I don't know
Yeah,
if
you
that's a
just do your
similar
thing.
thing. You do your thing, and
Yeah.
everyone's keeping score along the way.
Yeah, correct.
Everyone else is.
Nick, so mate, thanks so much for coming in. Country boy, grew up on a farm. I love that.
Yeah,
love
mate.
that.
Yeah. Look, I loved it. I hated it as a child. Like, I'll be honest with you, I hated it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I turned 18, I moved down the city. But now, as I've gotten older, I'm like, I want to get back down to the farm again. So I actually just bought a farm recently. I'm thinking, and I'm getting some llamas. I'm getting some peacocks on it. Getting some cattle. I'm like, what's happening to me?
That's what
I
you
was
do. That's
anti
what
it
you do,
growing up,
Hollywood.
and now I'm now going back to my roots.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah,
Love
it's cool, man. I like it.
Love it. So you went to school up there, finished your VCE up there?
I went to school in that region.
Yes.
Finished year 12 barely.
Yes.
I struggled in.
Scraped through?
Yeah, I just wasn't into studying at the time.
Yep.
My ATAR, back in my day, I think it was called ENTAR. It was 57. which is,
Right.
mate, it's crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think even I got 65.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. But I was one of those guys that
5 times mine.
I was 43.
yeah, 43. Yeah, I think you had to stay in the class for a certain amount of time with the exam, and then you could leave. I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, I've just got a new car. It was like a Mazda 626 1978 in the car park. I want to go drive that,
Yep.
even though it was like canary yellow. I said, I want to go drive that rather than do my exam, and I was one of those guys. And then, yeah, it is what it is, huh?
Yeah, love it, love it. Now, what happened after that? Where'd you go after school?
Man, I was a bit lost after school.
Yep.
Obviously, the score wasn't great, so getting into university wasn't great. It wasn't really an option for me.
They weren't rolling out the red
They
carpet
weren't going,
for
hey,
you,
come to
type
Melbourne
thing?
University, we've got the best career for you here. So I ended up jetting off to London for a bit, worked in bars and clubs and restaurants and just had a good time. And then I probably had too much of a good time.
Yeah.
And then my parents said, you need to come home. So I came home, and then my old man enrolled me into a university. I won't name the name, but it was scraping the bottom of the barrel university. And I was in that university for 6 weeks, and I was sitting in a macroeconomics class going, what am I doing here? This is fucking boring the crap out of me. Jumped in my car, drove off, and then worked in hospitality for another 4 or 5 years after that, and just drifted from job to job, trying to find what was my purpose in life.
Yeah, that's super interesting. We actually hear that a lot. People that are just rocking up and just want to try things and figure things out. And is this for me? Isn't this for me? But you just kept moving along.
Mate, I just wanted to work, chase girls, and I'll be honest with you, and having a good time. Like, I had no interest in making money, like making a lot of money at that time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to enjoy life because I've been at school for X amount of years. So it was just about having a good time, make enough to survive, and go out for drinks with my friends. That was my purpose at that time.
That's the London lifestyle. Like I did, Benny and I both done it. We lived over there when we were young, and
How
you
good is
party,
it?
carry
Oh, it's
on.
insane.
And
It's,
like you
mate,
said,
it's
I
so
still
good.
keep in contact with a couple of
Oh, yeah.
guys I met over there. Yeah, we
you're
do Zooms
chasing,
and
you're
stuff.
chasing
It's
the
gross.
women and all that. I met my wife actually halfway through it, so I always blame her.
But Nick, I just want to back over something. You were saying when you went to London, or when I was doing the research, I read something about like that wasn't, you had to hustle to get yourself over there, right?
Yeah.
So would it be fair to say that you didn't know it at the time, but you were just ingrained with this hustle to make money?
Well, I didn't have it because I lived in the country. Trying to get a part-time job was quite difficult because my neighbours were, I don't know, X amount of kilometres that way, X amount of kilometres that way. So getting to a place to work was challenging. So I said, okay, how am I going to earn cash? Because I need to get out of this. In my mind, it was a dump back in the day, but now actually I love it. But how do I get out of here and get to London and start my life? So my old man said, you can wash the car and I'll pay you $1. I'm like, $1? Yeah. Or you can mow the lawn for $1. And we lived on a farm, so our lawn wasn't a normal lawn. It was like 2 acres just for one piece of lawn. So I was like, no, there's going to be a better way of doing this. So then one day a kid offered me, I don't know, a few dollars for my chicken sandwich. And I thought, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that deal.
Better than mowing the 2 acres.
Yeah.
Mate, it didn't cost me anything because my mum was paying for the lunch.
Were you hungry?
I brought in. I didn't eat until dinner time, so basically I was fasting.
Oh, wow.
Before it came.
Intermittent fasting. Yeah.
Before it became famous.
Right.
And my mum kept asking, why are you so skinny? I think I weighed 50 kilos, and I was probably a very similar height to I am now. And I'm like, no, Mum, I just got a high metabolism, but I just wasn't eating.
Yeah, better make 2 sandwiches tomorrow, Mum.
Yeah, so Mum was making 2 lunchboxes with 8 sandwiches, chocolate bars, the works. And I was just on the school bus.
Yeah.
$4 here, $5 there, $7 there.
Wow.
Ended up making between, probably $20,000 to $30,000 selling my school lunch. And then I started leasing out
amazing.
X-rated videos as well.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Boys.
It was always
That was
always a
hot.
market for that.
That was hot.
That
But
was
you
hot.
can always see where the guys have rewinded the same scene. And it starts going, it starts getting crackly. I was like, no more for you. I don't have any more of that. So that was a good little business in school. And that was enough for me to get to London, set myself up before and it was just, and then on the way back from London, I stopped by Fiji. All through the funds I'd raised in high school.
Wow.
That's
It was
incredible.
awesome. Yeah, it was awesome, man.
That's amazing. Like, yeah, your high school is your business yard. Some people say they do a little bit of that, but 20, 30,000.
That's very entrepreneurial, isn't it? Like, for what are we talking, 16, 17, 18 years?
From about 15 to 18, I was just hustling my school lunches
Wow.
and the X-rated stuff because I just needed to get to London because I just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah.
There was no other reason. I'd watching documentaries on London and best places to party in the world. It was all about London and the Bahamas. I'm like, how do I get there? Rather than watching a kangaroo outside of my window. So yeah, man, I just had a goal and I was just going for it.
And the old man, lawns are ready,
The
buddy.
old man's going, come round out the sheep. I'm like,
So, Nick, when you come back from London, like I know in myself, I matured so much moving overseas. I was 22, 23 when I went.
yep.
But I feel like it matured me so much because you're in a different country, in a different world, there's different people, and you just grow up.
Yeah, you have
did
to,
that
mate.
Did that happen sort of?
Well, mate, my mum wasn't making my dinner anymore, and I was living at the top of a pub. So
Beautiful.
I was working downstairs in a pub, getting my own food, meeting different people to where I was living. Down
Different
the farm.
cultures and-
Different cultures. It was just a complete game changer in my life.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I was a different person. But then I was like, I've had a taste of that. I want more. And that's how it kind of all got started. And then when I was in hospitality for a few years, I'm thinking earning $16 an hour is not really doing it for me anymore. What's the next step? And luckily, I got a job in corporate doing data entry. And just keep in mind, I still type with 2 fingers. So imagine me doing data entry with 2 fingers. I wrangled my way into this job. I said, look, man, I'm a speed typer. I can do this. Rah, rah, rah. Anyways, day one, I'm typing 2 fingers. And I got a taste of corporate. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then another job came up in the same company doing recruitment. Put my hand up for it, got it, started making more money. I was like, now I'm enjoying this. And then sales job came up, and then it all progressed from there.
Yeah, right. So you just kept taking those opportunities.
Mate,
just kept saying yes.
When
Let's
my
do it.
colleague was taking a sick day, I loved it. I got to take his leads. I got to take his opportunities, all her opportunities. I'm like, everyone else, you take sick leave, you take annual leave. I'm just going to keep working and working and take all the opportunities. So when an op came up, I was all over it. And then within about 2 years, I became GM of that business because I was just working like an absolute machine.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just doing their 9 to 5. I'm like, no. I'll get in early. I'll leave late because I just wanted more.
Yeah.
And you know what? We see that within our business and stuff. There's certain ones that they're just cut different, aren't they? That
They cut from a different cloth. Even like my businesses, you can see the ones who are just the absolute A players.
Yep.
They just
rock
get
stars.
it. They've got common sense. They're rock stars.
Yep.
They don't check in at 9 or check in out at 5:30. They're in. And you've got to look after these people, and you've got to nurture them, help them progress their career because they will change the game for you.
Yeah. Got to grab hold of
Oh
them.
man, I've got a few of them, and I'm like, I adore you because you're so good at what you do.
Yeah.
And just don't leave me. I'll throw everything at you just to keep you.
Yeah. And I guess so for you, Nick, when you see that sort of talent, that sort of hard work, do you then put that pressure on yourself and go, how can I just keep this person, give them what they want, make them fulfilled throughout their day? Like, do you, is that a big play for you?
Well, the thing is, people want to be part of a winning team. So if you're not winning or growing, no matter how good they are, they're probably going to leave.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure that my company is always growing and winning. Otherwise, I'm going to lose these A players.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility to ensure the growth of the company continues for years to come. And if it grows, what's going to happen? They're going to have opportunities to progress with the career with the company. So they're going to get promoted, probably 6 monthly, yearly, depends how good they are. But they're going to progress very, very quickly in the business. So you've got to look after them. You've got to progress them. Otherwise, they're going to get bored and they're going to bounce.
Yeah. Nick, a good tip for our listeners out there, how would they articulate that to their employees? Like, say they're stuck in that 5 mil sort of turnover and they can't get to that 10, 15. How do they tell the story to an employee to believe in
So
me?
you're saying, like, sell them the dream.
Yeah, sell them the
You
dream.
gotta sell them the dream. But
Get the buy-in.
Yeah, but you have to have a plan of attack.
You got to have, yeah.
Because I remember in 2012, I was stuck at about $3 million in revenue. Just could not get past it. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? Fucking hell. So I left my office, because I had a separate office from the team, moved back on the floor, put a headset back on, and started calling prospects. And then I restructured the account servicing team. And then from that year, we went from 3 million to 11 million in revenue. And I thought, okay, so I'm back in the trenches with the guys, showing them that I'm part of the team. And I'm basically in it with them. And then as a result, the business turned around. Like, you've got to show them what the plan is, how you're going to do it, how you're going to execute it. and then they will follow you.
So it's not don't tell them what to do, show them what
Monkey
to do.
see, monkey do.
100%. Mate, people follow people. If you're a weak leader, you're going to lose your good players. But if they can see that you're an absolute operator, and obviously you treat them with respect, they're going to follow you to the ends of the earth.
Yeah. That's a team they want.
And you got to pay people well, to be honest.
Oh, of course.
Just pay them. Yeah, like people, everyone's got to eat.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, pay your people well.
Yeah.
I always pay above market rates because I want to retain people. And if they're not a great operator, just exit them out of the business. Don't hold them because you're just doing them an injustice by keeping them in a role they're not suited to.
And then you're doing the other people, the rock stars, an injustice because they're looking across going, oh, look at Sally. Sally's not doing much. And then it becomes...
Same wage.
Yeah. It's like, well, why is Sally getting paid that? You know, like you say, exit Sally, get the rock stars in.
Yep.
Everyone going like that.
100%, mate. Like, if Sally's getting $100,000 and I'm getting 80, but I'm better than Sally, how is that fair?
Yeah.
And you will 100% lose those people.
Yeah. Love it. So that first business, the digital marketing agency,
digital marketing one, yep.
You got to 11 mil in that year.
Yep.
You went and supercharged it yourself.
With the team, I just gave it a nudge.
Gave it a nudge.
Yeah.
Set the example. Take us from there. That's the business.
Was that WME as well? WME Group, yep.
And then I ended up, so that business ended up getting to about 25 to 30 million. Ended up exiting that business for 39 million. But when I exited, I had two offers on the table. There was one offer of $39 million. Here's the keys, you walk away. And in a service-based business, that is super rare. Usually you have to do a 3-year
Handover.
Yeah.
earn-out.
Yeah.
Or there was another offer for 150 million with a 3 to 5 year earn-out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but I know we would have hit the earn-outs, but I was like, the opportunity cost. In 3 to 5 years, I can probably make a lot more than 100
Especially with 39 in the back pocket.
Yeah. I can make more than 100 million. So I took the 39 because I'd also checked out mentally in that business.
Okay.
It was just time to sell. I know I'd been doing it for 9 years. I'd done everything I wanted to achieve in it. So I said, here's the keys. I'm in my board shorts and a singlet. Literally, here's the keys. See you later.
Bahamas, here I come. Let's go.
Well, I was going to take a year off work, and then the plan was travel the world. And then 2 weeks into it, I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm a bit bored now. So then I only sold 1/10 of the business. So I sold the WME part, but I had all the international agencies and a few more here. And I was like, okay, I'm going to actually build those other ones up. So after 2 weeks, I got bored and I went back into the game and just started building the businesses again. And yeah, I know it's been charged ever since.
So for context, was it WME had the group that was the parent company, and you had multiple agencies? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I had a parent company, and then WME is just one of the agencies.
Oh, right,
in the group.
got it. Yep.
And so I sold WME, but I didn't sell Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, blah blah blah, all the rest. And then after 2 weeks of getting bored, I just went back and built Hong Kong up, Singapore, Thailand, and more agencies in Australia.
I find that fascinating. This is typical of entrepreneurs. They just want to keep doing more and more, because in my head, I'm thinking 39 mil in the back pocket. I'm going to go travel, not for a year. I'm traveling for the rest of my life. But you say you got bored after a few weeks.
Wait, 39 millions, it doesn't last that long. You pay
Doesn't last.
you pay tax on that. So just
Taxman puts his hand out.
So you pay 25% tax on that.
Yeah, you got a business partner.
Still a bit. Still a bit.
No business partners, fortunately.
No, I mean the tax man's your business partner.
Mate, he'll always get his hands on it. And then obviously you buy a house and other bits and pieces. Like it's it's a lot of money, but it's not as much as you think.
I agree. I wouldn't know. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
So, and I was like, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't really do it for the money. I just enjoy the process of building businesses. I just find it fun.
Dude, that was one of the key questions I wanted to ask you today, because I read a quote. I read a quote somewhere that says, "I don't buy things. I'm not posting pictures of fast cars on Instagram. I just enjoy building businesses." Right. So my question is this: once you earn a certain amount of money, does it get to a point where it just doesn't, it means less, or it doesn't mean anything? Because the bank account, let's say the digits, there's that many digits, you go and take a 1,000 or 5,000 out, and it really doesn't affect the balance. Do you know what I mean? So it gets to a point where the money becomes
irrelevant.
Irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Like you asked me this question 10 years ago, I said my goal in life was to get to $20 million. And then I'm going to be the happiest man in the world and I'm going to retire. I'm done forever. You get there, it's like, okay, what's next? And then you get to another target, you go, what's next? And then you're right, it gets to a level where you go, the money's irrelevant. I just want to build businesses because I enjoy the process and I enjoy working with people. Like when I sold WME, the business went with about 300 staff. And then after I lost that business, I kind of lost a bit of purpose for a while because I enjoy going to the office, working with a team, talking shit with them, thinking about ideas. And after I sold, I'm like, oh, man, a little bit lost.
Nowhere to go. All dressed up, nowhere to go.
Yeah, because I've got offices overseas, but because I'm here, it's very hard to connect with my Hong Kong team or the other overseas businesses. So I said to my partner, I said, look, I need to get back in the game because I need a purpose. I need to do something with my life. Otherwise, sitting on the beach drinking cocktails just doesn't do it for me. And yeah, that's why I got back into it. Like, don't get me wrong, the money is great and it does buy you opportunities, but it's what you do with those opportunities. I always say, if you're unhappy before you had money, you're going to be unhappy with money.
We spoke about this the other week. Yeah.
And if you're an arsehole before you had money, you're going to be even bigger arsehole when you've got money.
It just heightens.
It 100% heightens what you are.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm sure you guys have met the same. You met a lot of guys who they've got some cash and it's just pricks. Like they're just fucking pricks. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you were an arsehole before you even had cash.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've just got to enjoy the game, enjoy the process, and the money is just a byproduct of just doing well.
Yeah, interesting.
Amplifies.
Yeah.
Amplifies the one. You and you've got a family, Nick. You got 2 kids.
Yeah,
wife.
no, I've got 3. I've got
Oh,
mate, 3 kids. Naughty boys get girls. I've got 3 daughters.
Mate, and that is a real thing. I've got one bloke. I thought he was a naughty boy, good mate from Shepparton up your way,
Yeah.
and he's a good man, but he's a naughty boy. And 3 girls.
I got my mate Ruggs as well.
like,
But I reckon
daughters
he's
are
pure.
easy.
He's pure.
But
Until they're teenagers.
Ask me the same question in 10 years when they're teenagers. And all my good mates have boys, and they're like every time I have and I'm like,
So is any of your girls a teenager yet?
no, they're young.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So my daughter I just had a 13, my first one.
Oh, so you're
13.
coming into it now.
Oh my God.
Oh,
We won't go into it, but the day she turned 13.
la 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 la. I hear about it.
Keep him enjoying his journey, man. No, that's exciting. But I guess that family work-life balance, is that something you work at? Something that comes easy to you?
Yeah, like work-life balance. That's an interesting question. Like, what is work-life balance? For me, my hobby is business. And my partner says you need to get a hobby. I'm like, I don't really want one. I really like doing what I do. So as long as I'm a good father and I spend time with the family, and I'm building my businesses, to me, I'm always kind of happy. Like, working for me in the business is not work. It's like I know it's quite cliche, but I fucking love what I do.
Yeah.
So to me, there is no work-life balance. It's like, mate, I'm the happiest guy in the world because I've got a great family and I've got great businesses and I'm healthy and my family's healthy. I used to play golf. I don't play golf anymore. I don't play any sports anymore.
You used to rent the sticks out too, I heard, back in the day. That you used to rent the golf sticks out.
Yeah,
That was part of
I was a big golfer when I was young. And for some reason, kids wanted to lease out golf clubs for some reason. I don't know why. I probably wanted to beat people with them. I didn't ask questions. As long as they pay me money. And, but I know as soon as I turned 18, 19 and I saw a different world, golf became secondary.
Interesting. So Nick, I'm trying to put it all together. First question part of it is I'm trying to figure out what your why is in life. I think I kind of know the answer, but the second part to the question is, why are you so successful at building up businesses and getting them to a point where they're turning over 10, 15 mil?
Look, I think a couple of things. I become quite obsessed when I start a business. So I'm very big on the details and I'm quite consistent. I'll do the right things day in, day out. And they may be boring.
Can we ask what are those things? Is it like structure? Like what are those little things?
It could be, for example, okay, what am I doing? Working with the staff daily. Okay, guys, talk me through what we're doing today. It's not micromanaging; it's coaching them.
You do your huddles, don't you?
I do huddles every single day with all the staff.
Yeah.
And like I said, people confuse it with micromanaging. It's not. It's coaching. So I said, look, John, talk me through this. And he goes, this is how I've done it. I said, that's great. This is another option of where you could have done it, and this is why I would have done it this way.
Yeah.
So it's about coaching people and making them better.
Yeah.
operators and better what they do. But even if someone emails me from my company and their email signature is off, I'll go, hey, your email signature is off. Like every touch point with the client must be on point. Like I'm anal about every touch point. I'm anal about the details. And I think you have to be. And that's why we can scale. Like we just started a business 18 months ago. And this second year we'll do 25 million.
What's the business?
It's a marketing business.
So like a digital agency? Yeah, right.
Because once you've got the formula, you can rinse and repeat it. It's all about rinse and repeat. And you've got to be obsessed with client results, client servicing. If someone doesn't get back to a client within an hour, like everyone gets notified in the business. Like I'm big on.
So it's just holding people accountable, or holding each other accountable, collaborating.
You have to have structure and processes in your business, otherwise it will break.
Yeah.
Like going from say $1 million in revenue to 10 is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
As you guys know, like you need better systems, probably better talent,
Better people, yep.
Yeah. People,
Everything just needs to level up to be able to withstand that pressure.
Yeah. And if you don't have the right systems in place, your business will break. As you guys are probably aware. So we've got our own R&D team that builds out our own systems. So if we see a flaw, we go, okay, guys, build this now because we need this. So I'd rather go, how do I automate as much as possible rather than throwing people at it? One, I'm going to save money. Two, I'm minimizing human error.
Yeah.
Because people are going to make mistakes. It's
human
nature of the beast.
Especially as people come and go
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, how do I automate it? If I can't automate it, then I'll hire a person for it. But a lot of operators they're not investing in their back end or the structure. They're going, I'm going to throw people at it. They're not aggressive in business, and that's fine. Power to them. But I'm built a little bit differently. I'm like, no. How can I get to $300 million in revenue? How can I get to $500 million in revenue? And this is my game plan.
Yeah. So Nick, are you sort of saying once you've done it once, you've got that formula, the second, third time, fourth time gets easier because you know what works and what doesn't?
It does get easier, but it also comes down to the person leading that business. So obviously we've got, I think we've about 15 businesses in the group now. I can't run all of them. So I hire a GM to run each business. Now, he or she needs to be fantastic because if they're not, what's going to happen? If you've got a weak leader in the top of the business, it's going to flow down to the rest of the team. So trying to find 15 amazing GMs, it's difficult.
Finding one.
Finding one's even hard. Yeah. And we're about to open in Austria next month in Vienna. And so trying to find people there is challenging. So then you've got to go through an interview process, screening, but you really don't know until they're on the floor with you, they're operating with you. So what I do is I pay them X amount, and then within 5 years, they're given equity in the company.
Yeah.
But in that 5 years, they've got to absolutely wow me. If they don't wow me, then see you later.
So is that something that gets talked about from the get-go?
From the get-go.
This is your plan. This is your succession
This
plan.
is your plan. This is your revenue targets, your profit targets. And if you hit these, then you get X amount of equity in 5 years, which was probably worth, just say, $10 million.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and
great.
then so they're
awesome.
busting their ass for 5 years, delivering an outcome for you.
Instead of keeping it a secret, and then they may, by default, hit it and then offering it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go,
after,
surprise.
Yeah.
Here's equity.
It's kind of how,
You got to dangle the carrot.
which is kind of how it's done, or the way I've heard anyway, where people, they go and prove it, and then they go and go, hey, that was awesome, we'll give you some equity.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to sort
Tell
of
them early.
dangle the carrot, make it meaningful,
100%.
and then give them all the tools and resources they can to sort of achieve it. That's
But not
crazy.
everyone can do it. So we've had people that lasted 6 months with us or a year because they're just not right for that role. And if they can't grow the business, what's the point?
So I've got a question about once you've got the system, and when you talk about, you've figured out the system, are you sort of referring to like a system relative to, say, digital marketing agencies, or do you feel like there's an actual system that sort of that sort of crosses, that's universal, that it doesn't have to, it might be an e-com business or whatever.
It could be building a CRM suited to your business.
Yep.
Or getting a CRM off the shelf, but then customizing it for your business.
Okay.
So we've built our own that basically does invoicing, lead management, task allocation, client reporting. It's all in one system. So my guys don't have to open 10 different windows or 10 different pieces of software to run the service. It's one system that does it all for them. So I'm trying to idiot-proof my company and minimize human error.
Yep.
And it works, but not always. Like sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
But
Common
I'm
sense
like,
doesn't
okay,
happen.
how do I automate it? How do I make their job easier? That's the key. You got to make your team's job easier.
Work smarter, not harder.
Correct. Because if you don't, you're allowing them to make mistakes, and they're going to make mistakes, and it's going to cost you money and time.
And slow that scale down as well.
100% slow scale. The customers are going to get pissed off. It's going to hurt your reputation, but you can use Removify for that.
Good segue. Good segue.
Have you used Removify?
Yeah. I'm in business with them right now. We've been talking.
Pretty good, huh?
It's insane. Well,
what is
they've
it?
been amazing. You
So
explain.
Removify is an online content removal company. So it could be used for removing nude photos. We do a lot of that, by the way. So
And for the record, Bonnie, that's not what we're talking.
Yeah, so it could be. Actually, there was one. I'll give you a story. There was quite a well-known TV personality, and he rang the office, and there was some nude photos of him on a website called Cheaters.com, and we quoted him. I think it was like, I don't know, $1,000 to remove the photos. And I overheard the conversation. He goes, too expensive. And when you Google his name, first thing that comes up is the photos of him with his sugar baby. Literally, first thing you see, sugar baby. And he goes, too expensive. And keep in mind, he has a wife, 2 kids.
Wow.
He goes, too expensive. 3 days later, he rang up, please help me.
Yeah.
Please, I need to get it removed. We got him removed within an hour for him.
$5,000? Did you pump
I was like, double the price.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically you can remove unfair reviews.
Yeah.
We can remove them as well.
off Google and that?
Yeah,
Off
Google reviews.
Facebook.
Yeah.
So I always thought once it was on there, that it was legit. It had to stay, but
No.
No, because it can be fraudulent, and
Correct.
I'll explain our situation. So we had someone. I don't want to ruffle his feathers anymore, this fella, but but what happened was, long story short, didn't work the business, hadn't done anything with the business. He applied for a job. And I spoke to him on the phone, and it was fine. And he all it was on the phone, he gave me his wage expectations. So when you do a phone interview, one of the questions is, hey, just what kind of expectations you have around salary? We don't want to waste each other's time. And it was like crazy, man. It was like 3 times what we could afford. And, so I didn't turn around and say, you dream. And I was like, oh man, I don't think we're in a position to pay that amount. Really appreciate your time. Long story short, next thing you know, getting notifications, this guy's putting Google reviews on 0 stars. With no comment, but that happened the one, and then I rang it and I was like, I think that's a guy. So I rang, and then he goes, don't ever call me again, and hung up. And I'm like, oh, this is just not fair. Then from a separate profile, did a second one, man, and that's when I contacted you guys. And I've gone, hit Removify and said, surely that's fraud, right? We've never worked with him, we've never done anything. He went for a job and 2 different profiles, no comments, 2 zeros, man. So
what a great business to have. to
Great
be able to do that.
business. And there's a lot of crazies out there that would just...
it's not fair, yeah.
If they don't like what they hear, they will leave you a review and then probably multiple reviews. We had one client that had 174 one-star reviews in 24 hours.
Oh,
So someone got all their
aggressive.
friends to start posting reviews, and this, I won't name the client, but they're in the building industry. Went from a 5-star review, a 5-star rating, to 1.2.
Yeah.
That can kill their business.
yeah.
So luckily we got everything removed, but it's just like some people are very vindictive, and if you say something they just do not like,
oh, it's crazy.
something snaps in their head, and they'll just target you. It's crazy.
And that's exactly what happened. And me and Pete, we've given everything to our business, and for us, it was just like, we were 5, and it's taken us to 4.9.
We took pride in being
we
5.
We took pride in being 5, right? And we'd worked very hard to keep our 5
yeah.
sort of thing. And then someone like that just comes in, you don't see him coming, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Question,
Or
Nick,
is
would
there?
you know, we've got about 110
Oh, this is a great question.
5-starers, and we've got 2 of old Knucklehead. How do we get that back to a 5?
Yeah,
Do
how
you
many
know
5s do
how
we need?
many we have to do to get that
So you're
back
at
to an average
4.9 now?
5? Yeah, correct.
4.9? Yeah.
Yeah, so ideally, the quickest way to do that is to remove just 1. And if you remove 1, there's probably a good chance you'll get to 5. Yeah, or you probably need another 30 5-star reviews.
So it's 150 to tip over.
Yeah, it's easier to remove 1 than get another 30 to 50 5-star reviews to get back to that 5 rating.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at getting them just quietly, but
Oh,
yes,
then-
no, but I like your way as well.
Yeah, but if you can get them quickly, go for it.
And Nick, they've struggled. So Removify, we've been working with them for 6 months,
Yep.
and they've been amazing, man. They just keep because I keep going, no, surely there's another way. you know?
Yeah.
And they keep sort of filing their things and stuff, but they're struggling. But my question is, how did you come up with it? How did you come up with Removify? Because I didn't know it existed until that day when I felt like my life
Until
was
you
ruined.
needed it.
Yeah, until I needed it. My life was ruined. And DC, shout out DC, legend downstairs, come up and goes, Benny, I don't know, we can sort of sort this out, you know? So, yeah, how did you come up with it?
A mate of mine in 2017 reached out to me and said, look, I've just been absolutely slammed with negative reviews. He goes, can I remove them? And I thought, mate, I don't think so. But then I started doing some research around ways to remove reviews across Google and Facebook, I think. And I found a way of doing it. I'm like, actually, you can do this. And then I rang a mate of mine who's living in Canada. I said, look, mate, I've got this idea for a business, basically removing online content, videos and photos and reviews. And he goes, yeah, it's a pretty good idea. I said, look, why don't you come back to Australia and we'll do the business together because I need your tech brain. He's very good at building platforms. He's just one of those smartest guys in the room type of scenario. His name's Andrew. So he basically moved back and then we kicked off Removify. It was just purely out of demand. And then when we launched it, it just blew up.
Boom, yeah.
Yeah, mate, it just boomed. Because how many people out there are getting targeted with negative pieces of content? Like millions of people.
Yeah.
So, and there's very, very few competitors in the space. When we launched, there's basically none. So the business just went overnight.
Great idea.
And I reckon I know how legally and stuff you can go through the channels with Google and Facebook and stuff.
Yep.
But when you end up on, what was it, cheaters.com or
Cheaters.com.
whatever. So who are you hitting up on Cheaters to, is that more of a negotiation?
Have you got like a
than
connect
illegal?
in at Cheaters? Where it's like, I'll call my man over there, I'll get you sorted.
No, you have to negotiate with them. It's purely a negotiation process, and they go basically yay or nay. You need to say, guys, this is why it's breaching your policies. And they will go yes or no. Same with Google. We can get it de-indexed from Google, meaning if you search for it, it's not going to be showing the Google results.
Right. So you can go through Google to make it not appear. So it'd still be on the website.
Correct.
But it won't come up in search.
Correct. But if it's not appearing on Google, very, very
You won't find
rare
it.
you're going to find it.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's just a negotiation process with our lawyers and their legal team.
Good one for the people out there who might need it for their
Great business. Anyone needs a bit of brand control,
get the 5-star.
bit of damage control.
Yeah, mate, we can
Removify.
help.
Yeah. Nick, I got a question. We're always taught find a niche and be the best at that niche or be in that business. I'm hearing you've got multiple businesses across multiple platforms.
I should listen to that advice.
Yeah. So I'm trying to understand. You're successful over all of these. How have you spread yourself? That I mean, you said it before with good GMs, but
Yeah, look, I remember in the early days, I was always chasing this shiny object. So I was like, I'd do my digital marketing business, and then there's another opportunity, and then which is completely out of my realm. I'd chase it, and then it would fail. What I didn't realize was the opportunity and the wealth was right in front of me. Just stay in my lane and build those businesses. So with the businesses I've built at the moment, the 15 agencies, they're still agencies. So it's a very similar formula. Even though one may be software development or reputation or marketing, they're still agencies to a degree.
And are
Do you
they
mean service sort of base?
complementary as well?
Yeah, so we might get a client for marketing, and then we'll sell them software development or email marketing or reputation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically have, I can't mention client names, but we get a client in, say, Singapore, and then our Australian office will then get them, and then our Hong Kong office will get them as well.
Yeah.
So it's like an ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm trying to build at the moment. Whereas we bring a client in, we give them everything they need, so they never need to leave.
great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because even when you're talking about starting Removify, I feel like your other businesses could feed that business anyway. If you're selling them something else, I've got this problem.
Yeah.
They go, well, yeah, we'll take you to Removify.
The only challenge we have is trying to get all the agencies to talk to each other because everyone's protecting their own P&L.
Those
I
GMs.
don't want to share this client with them. So I need to incentivize the guys a bit better to share their share their clients. But it's an ecosystem at the moment, and it's working well. But I would never go into property development. I just don't know it.
Yeah.
That's your game.
I was going to say, unless you partner with some...
unless I go, maybe I invest money and then someone else runs it.
Yeah.
But it's just, I stay in lane, do it well, and absolutely dominate it.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic advice. How did Celebrity Apprentice come about?
Great
no, that was
question.
random. They reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So it was COVID. I was obviously in Melbourne in lockdown like the rest of us. I'm
Fantastic
not sure if
time.
anyone else escaped here.
It was a fantastic time, wasn't it? I got to the peninsula, but it wasn't really escaping.
There you go. And they shot me a message and said, "Are you interested in doing Celebrity Apprentice?" And I thought, "Is this a joke?" Because it could be. I thought it was a spam message. And they said, "No, it's legit." And this is, I think, 2 weeks before filming. So I presume they had someone else and they
Well, they had
fell
Lorna
out.
the year before. It was Lorna Jane, I think.
Yeah, but then obviously something happened there.
Yeah.
And then, maybe they had someone else and that kind of fell through.
Yep.
So 2 weeks before filming, they reached out to me and I said, I'm interested because I'm in lockdown.
Yeah. This gets me out. Gets me a permit.
Yeah, I said, can I get out of lockdown? They said, we can get you a permit for Sydney. I said, sweet.
Yeah.
I said, sign me up. I said, I don't even care what you pay me. And within a week, I was up in Sydney living on the harbour.
Amazing.
Oh, mate, it was
With the family? Could you go?
with the family. I said, one condition, I can bring the family up.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome gig. So it was just, I know, I love living in Sydney, especially on the water. It was just the best time because it was obviously summertime. And working with Janine and Alice was amazing. I love Janine. And then you got Lord.
Yeah, Lord Sugar.
Yeah.
Is a character.
He's a billionaire, yeah?
Yeah, he's a proper billionaire.
Yeah, like a legit billionaire.
He's a Terminator.
Yeah.
Like you play tennis with him. If he's losing, he will hate life.
He's
Like he has
competitive.
to win.
Full competitive.
He's super competitive, but I love him for it.
How did he make his fortune?
So back in the 80s, he had a business called Amstrad that sold electronics. And he IPO'd that business in the 80s for about 1.6 billion pounds. Remember,
then.
that's back in the 80s.
Yeah, so 3 times, right? So 3
Probably
billion
more.
Correct.
Aussie dollars, yeah.
And he just basically, the value of that business kept increasing and increasing. And he took the money and bought property in London.
Oh.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
no, he's a proper billionaire. I've got a lot of respect for him because he built his wealth out of the back of a van. So
Wow.
And
yeah.
can we shout out Janine? Like she's just,
Janine, man, yeah.
Like Janine just she just sold Boost, right? Is that
Just
is
sold,
that,
it was in the
is that-
papers.
Yeah, it's in the papers. Yeah, I didn't
just
know.
sold Boost
Yeah.
and Betty's Burgers. Congrats, Janine.
Yeah, legend.
Yeah. So Janine's an absolute legend. When you're working with someone 5 days a week, I don't know, 10 hours a day, you get to learn a lot about someone.
Yeah.
And going into it, I'm like, please be nice. Please don't be.
Yeah.
And she is awesome, mate. She's what you see is what you get with her.
Amazing.
Super down to earth.
Yeah.
And with Alan Sugar, he's just a dude. You give him shit back, he likes it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people don't give him shit.
On the show, he's a bit like that as well.
Yeah, but you
isn't
give
he?
him shit, he goes, all right, I'll take it. I
Yeah.
respect you.
Yeah.
But if you bow down to him, he's like, no, you got to give it to him, and then he's all good.
Yeah.
I liked him. So the whole show was fun.
How long did that go for? How long was it filming?
Almost 3 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
a long
almost
time.
3 months. Yeah, a lot of stand up, talk, sit down for 2
Wait.
hours.
Yeah.
So TV is an interesting one. So because you're in your own business, you're always going, you're moving, you're doing things. Where TV, you might stand up for 5 minutes and talk, and then you got to sit down for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good experience.
Were there any, it's a business show. Were there any business nuggets that you took away that you're obviously successful that you came away and went, oh yeah, whether it be Janine,
Yeah, talking
Sugar.
to Sugar, I learned a lot about business, and he convinced me to potentially IPO down the track.
Yep.
Because that's how he made his wealth. I was always against IPOing, but after talking to him, I'm like, maybe there's an opportunity to IPO in the future.
Just explain that.
Yeah,
Just for the listeners.
The reason being, if with an IPO, if you hit your numbers continually, the wealth or the value of your company increases dramatically over time because it builds hype with the market, and the market go, this is a great company. So his business went from, don't quote me on this, but just say £100 million to 1.6 billion pounds in value because he kept hitting his numbers.
Yeah, right.
And was the company worth that? I don't know, but the market says it was.
Yeah.
There's risk there too, I think. with the
100%
market.
is risk there. But if you back yourself and you've got great business, you're hitting your numbers, there's definitely an opportunity there.
Exciting, I reckon, to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Very-
So, and he's got some great stories about how he started, I think, Sky TV with Rupert Murdoch.
Right.
Great story.
Listen to that story.
Wow,
These
wow.
stories are pretty interesting. So there's a lot going on with with Sugar, and I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
And then Janine's just a consummate professional. You can tell she's been doing TV for years. When the camera's on, bang, she is all over it. Yeah. Whereas I'm like,
I'm warming up, guys. I'm trying to warm up.
I remember the first episode, they say, it was Lord Sugar, Janine, and the celebrities, and they go, Nick, say something. I'm like, what do you want me to say? Like, there's no teleprompter, so you just got to wing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get used to it, it's quite easy.
And
But yeah.
round 2? Are you going to be back for round 2?
No, it's not. Didn't get picked up again.
Oh, you kidding?
Yeah, I must have tanked the show.
I thought it rated well though.
Yeah,
as well.
I reckon it's a good
Yeah.
show.
You got Maths. I think Maths was doing 1.2 million.
Same network, but you still would have thought it would have been on.
No, it's Maths just killed it. So yeah.
Interesting.
Bugger.
No, it's all good. All good. But
Oh, not bugger for you. Bugger for me. I like it. It's a good show.
Penny likes it.
My thoughts is they should bring back The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Yes.
But don't give the winner a job. Invest $500,000 into
Their business or a business idea or
That's
business
what
plan.
I would do.
Yeah, that's a
So don't do Celebrity Apprentice.
That's a new concept.
Do straight Apprentice. Everyone vies for the opportunity. Then they present their businesses, and you give them $500,000.
Yeah.
You could almost
And then you can actually film that journey.
or morph Shark Tank and Celebrity Apprentice a little bit.
Yeah, I would do that again. No, not again, but I would do that bit.
Yeah, to morph those would be amazing,
yeah.
right? So you get the best sharks or whatever, or the people with their business ideas or their early businesses come in and compete. And like you said, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and then you take a chunk of their business, and then you watch their journey, you film it. That alone is a
They
show.
get the PR.
Interesting. Yeah, it'd be good. Nick, everyone out there, they'll be listening to this going, shit, this bloke's busy. How does he fit it all into 24 hours of a day? So is it drive? Is it like because you're hustling when you're a teenager? What is it? Where does it come from?
Mate, I delegate extremely well.
Oh, nice.
It's all about delegation, and I use my time effectively. For example, when I'm sitting on the toilet, I write emails. And yeah, literally, I'm
Great
always
time to do it.
Mate, I've got time.
Yeah.
And my emails are generally 1 or 2 lines. I never write essays. When someone sends me an email and it's an essay, I'm not going to read this, mate.
Yeah.
That's
I'm the
PK's pet peeve as well.
No,
It's the worst.
I don't even say hello anymore. It's normally just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
Point.
even I'm like,
I'm
sometimes
pretty
I'm like,
bad.
hi, but I don't go, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Because I'm just wasting time by saying how are you. Because let's be honest, this
Get
is
to the
email.
point.
Let's get to the point.
Yeah.
And email me, get to the point. I don't care about how are you. Just tell me what you need.
Yeah.
Within the business, I just give dot points to a client. You say hello, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, pick and choose your crowd.
Yeah.
Pick and choose your crowd. But like 1 or 2 lines, dot points, never paragraphs, unless it's a really, important email. But I know, I try and be effective with my time.
Nice. Yeah.
I think you have to be.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got a lot of moving parts and a lot of variables in your business. It's so important. And I don't know, man, I don't know. I sleep 8 hours a day, so I don't sleep less than others. But I just try and use my time wisely. Like I'm sure you guys do as well.
Yeah. Obviously,
try.
you try
Try
to. Yeah, I've actually stopped watching shows and everything now.
That's the
I've
key.
stopped everything. Yeah.
Watching TV
Killer.
kills you.
Yeah.
Kills you. It's like you've got to be But people go home. I haven't got time, but they're watching TV at home.
They're watching maths and that. Yeah.
Or they go, I haven't got time to exercise. I'm like, mate, you could exercise in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Stop watching maths or Netflix, and you can get so much more done. Or I don't know about you guys, but if I have a big night and the next day I'm feeling a bit hungover, like my motivation goes through the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So minimize the nights out.
Yeah.
I know people like having a good time, and so do I. But it's like if I'm starting a new business, I won't drink for a month prior. So I'll just go, no drinking for a while before the business.
Clear
I need
head.
to be completely on.
Wow.
So clear head.
Good point.
Yeah, mate, it just makes such a difference.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just being hard on yourself, pulling out the mirror and
Yeah.
going, what can I be doing better? Otherwise, because you can easily cheat yourself.
Yeah.
Watch your maths. Watch maths with a beer on the couch.
It'd be like that
That's
dude.
the worst.
What's that show where they watch themselves watching the
Google-
TV?
is it Gogglebox?
Gogglebox, yeah.
Gogglebox, yeah,
You be
yeah.
that dude that sits there drinking the beer every night.
Yeah.
I've got a question. So obviously passionate about business, and like you said, you stay in your lane with the agencies and stuff. But do you have other interests as far as like investing and stuff? I'd like to think, like if I had hundreds of millions, I'd be going, it becomes a bit of a playground or a bit of a game where you can invest in, I don't know, stocks or property, startups.
Mate, I do, and I hate it.
What's your poison?
Because I'm like, every time I invest in, say, stocks, generally it turns to shit.
Yeah.
So it's a mug's game.
Yeah, it's like I invest in two things. Actually, no, three things. Tech businesses.
Yeah.
But 50% of the time, they always let me down. Property. I try and buy a lot of property. It's quite safe, as you guys know. And then stocks. Stocks, I always screw up.
Yeah.
The thing is, you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's just gambling. Do I do crypto? Nah, man, that's a mug's game.
Were you tempted? Cause
Oh, mate, I was buying into the hype. I'm like, oh shit, everyone's making shit.
when Matt Damon's doing TV ads saying don't.
Mate, I'm buying Bitcoin and Ripple and all that. I remember when Ripple was at its peak, I was thinking it was like $3.50. I put a huge chunk of money in. Literally day after, went to 50 cents.
Oh, shit.
I was like,
It was like 2017 or something.
I was at a bar with my mate. He goes, I'm buying Ripple today. I was like, all right, then I'll buy Ripple as well. Geez, I'm like, why do I do this?
Yeah, they're taking over the banks, Ripple.
Yeah. Why do I do this?
payments.
But yeah, mainly property.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was going to ask, so what kind of properties you put? So are we talking townhouses and you're sort of renting and building more of a home sort of portfolio, or you're like looking at mixed use, commercial?
Basically, mixture of both. Last week, I bought some farmland to rezone for. I'm basically land banking.
Yeah.
So I'm buying down Western region. So buying chunks of land down there. Also commercial property, offices, factories, warehouses.
I see.
So I stay away from retail. But yeah, I just do those areas, and it seems to work quite well so far. Touch wood. Yeah.
What that farming you're talking about, Nick? I saw read somewhere that you've got a bit of a plan up there about your animals and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe
so I bought
does his research, old PK.
good man.
from a childhood maybe experience that didn't go down that well.
Yeah, so I've been buying farmland in Mornington. Wongdong, you know what Wongdong is?
Yeah.
Wongdong, yeah. People don't know where that is. I didn't know until recently, but it's near Kilmore.
Yep.
And down Toowoomvale.
Yeah.
Melton.
Yeah,
Melton,
Yeah. So
they got a bridge. That's about it.
yeah, literally,
That's all they've got.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's more than one dong.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so basically the plan is obviously I grew up on a farm, and my parents were sending the cows and the sheep to the abattoirs, and that was their choice. But they said we had like a pet. I'll get into this again. We had a pet cow called Bonox, and it was like the family pet. And they sent the cow to the abattoirs.
No.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And after that, so now I've gone, okay, any farmer that wants to get rid of their animals that have aged out, because Bonox had aged out, you can send it to me and I'll look after it until its end of days. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing at the moment.
And then you allow public to come in and sort of see the animals, or
oh yeah, if they want, I'm not going to charge them. They can just come in and have a look if they want. Just look at some old cows and some old horses.
I hope my missus isn't listening. She wants to do the exact same. She wants big farmland down Red Hill and save all the
I'd
animals.
get a bit of money.
Yeah, I know.
Especially Red Hill.
She wants to save all the animals in the world. So,
Yeah, good on her though. It's good on
Yeah.
her. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So probably buy down at Toowoomvale. It's a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, send her out there. Send her out there. No, Nick, this has been awesome, mate.
Yeah.
One question: if someone was going to start their own business, or back like yourself that was itching at the bit to get going, what advice would you give them? To get started.
Yeah, a couple of pieces of advice here. So first of all, just start. A lot of people they dwell in it. They procrastinate. They go, yes, I'm going to do it. I'll do it next month. I'll do it next year. They don't start. So first of all, just start. Second, focus on selling and generating revenue. Without income, there is no business. When I see these companies continually raising and raising and raising, in tough economic times, you can't raise. It's hard.
yeah.
So you need to focus on generating revenue. So with my business at the start, I just jumped on the phones and started selling. And I had no fear. I enjoyed doing it at the time. Would I do it now? Probably not.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't cold call now. But back then I was like,
I would argue if you had to, you would. Right?
no, like, mate, if I'm living on the street, absolutely I would.
Yeah.
But just focus on generating revenue, start, and then hire good people. People, as you guys know, people is everything.
It's the game.
In the early days, I hired questionable people, and it probably set me back a couple of years. They're the three things I would go, this is what I need to nail, and it's super simple.
Yeah.
Start, revenue, and people.
Pretty easy.
I love
That's
the
kind
way
of
you
wrapped
just-
up season 1 of the Little Fish Pod, hadn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love the way you've articulated that. Easy, bite size. Anything else, boys? Anything else we've missed?
I think we've got to thank Nick for his time. He's obviously got a lot on his plate, and he's come
No,
in
guys,
here.
thanks for having me.
You've given us
Mate,
all that great
really.
info.
Thank you, mate.
Some nuggets there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate your time, mate.
I could answer. I've got another million questions. We'll get it back another time.
Please, guys, anyone that's going to enjoy that or get heaps of value out of it, anyone that wants to take on life like this guy, oh, wowee.
Yeah.
Share, like, share, subscribe. See you at the top.
Yeah.
Where you're born, and then you make your base.